My name is Avram Rosenzweig, and I'm the other half of Marty and Avram, the food guys. And it's a real pleasure and an honor to be here tonight to celebrate Marty Galin's life. But you know, when you are a half of a partnership, you know, whether it be as Marty and I did or in a relationship, and that person is no longer with you, you feel as though, you know, you've lost a limb. And I'm going to do my very best to be really happy tonight and positive, but I do have to express that feeling as well, because I'm guessing that there's a lot of people in this room who are feeling similarly. You know, I'm sitting over here at the table and we're having a discussion about Marty, and it is just so incredibly strange that Marty's not here tonight, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it? It's just so strange, because this was exactly what we're doing tonight, was Marty's core. It was Marty's essence. And if he were here tonight, his voice would be booming, right? They're out there. The most embarrassing moments of my entire life was when Marty and I were doing the radio at Talk 640 and CFRB 1010. And I would walk into a show and we'd be doing, you know, something on St. Clair. And I really am quite shy in my own way, and I try to be very low key in my own way. And there was Marty, he'd go, Avram! You remember that? You know, he would do it with all of us, right? And he would make sure that his excitement and his enthusiasm was something that he would impose on you. And I have to say that the 10 years that he and I did radio and TV were really the most incredible years of my life. I came out of the yeshiva world, the religious Jewish world, and it is quite dramatically different than what you see down here. I was really sort of, you know, in a world that doesn't offer the color that Marty Galin had within his heart and that he wanted to share with everybody. But as time went on, I met him at first at Julius Siss's Passover Seder. Julius, stand up, would you? There we go. Marty's oldest friend, Julius Siss. And by the way, all this audio visual, I think that Julius was the producer of it. So well done. Group effort. It was a group effort. But I met Marty there, and the moment I met him, I realized that my life was about to change. And it changed dramatically, and then eventually we ended up on, as I said, radio and TV. But the real point is, I know that every person in this room, be they family or friends, have the exact same experience, right? And Marty was my closest and dearest friend, and he was your closest and dearest friend. Because when he was with you, you just knew that he was concentrating on who you were at that point and what your needs were. I have to say that in Marty's very short, I think 74 years, Julius, 74 years that he came through this world of ours that we share, the level of kindness and the level of giving that he gave out to everybody that he met, strangers in the street, unbelievable. The reason we got fired from CFRB was because he invited 40 homeless people to the studio. And he didn't understand why CFRB was so upset, because Marty's soul was that of an individual, right? Everybody was equal. So when we had the CEO of Timex, on our show, where we had Harry Belafonte and Jose Feliciano, and we had Michael Bublé. Didn't matter. To him, everybody was equal. And therefore, everybody had a share in his soul, in his heart, in his goodness. And he is missed. He is missed a lot. I want to thank Sambuca Restaurant for having us here tonight. To the staff who are doing an extraordinary job. The food is outstanding, and I think it makes a lot of sense for us to celebrate Marty's life, because especially near the end of his life, he goes, why don't we go out? Well, that'd be great, Marty. Where should we go? go to Sambuca. I haven't been there for a while, you know. Meanwhile, he'd been there a week before. I also want to thank Julius and Gloria, and I want to thank Laura and everybody else who was involved in putting this evening together. We've been working on it for a few months, and we were just so extraordinarily excited about the fact that each and every one of you were coming out. And now that you're here, and now that we're celebrating together, there is just such a beautiful sense of camaraderie. And I think that what happens is when we bring all of us together, and we should do it again, God willing, down the road, in essence, what you have is Marty's spirit. Right here in this room, if you have Marty's legacy. I want to, before I turn the floor over to Gloria, I want to also tell you that it's very exciting to have Brian here, Marty's brother. Ready to go, Brian? And Robbie and Alan are here. Where are you guys? We have Howard and his wife here, the Galins over here. So we have family members. Did I miss any family members? Steve? Yeah, he looks like him a little bit. Great to have you as well. Unfortunately, my printer didn't print up my notes, so I have to refer to... I don't want to use your speech. It's not that good. In conclusion. Yeah, I know. Did anybody get a call from Marty? I know. I was going to ask. In conclusion, I just want to read you a couple of quotes and tell me if these resonate with you. They faced disease with grace, but their true legacy was their unwavering generosity. That's what the Dalai Lama said. And when I read it, I really applied it to Marty. Here's another beautiful quote that makes a lot of sense when we remember our beautiful friend and family member, Marty Galin, by Maya Angelou. She said, "Their kindness shone brighter than the disease that tried to dim them. In their gentle acts, they prove that no illness can conquer a compassionate heart." That was Khalil Gibran. And finally, Helen Keller said, "Though sickness weakened their body, their soul radiated boundless kindness." You could tell my dad used to say this a lot, you could tell a person by their friends. And when I first met Marty, I met a whole batch of other people, like Diane Douglas, like Gloria, like Julius, and so many others, all very decent and loving human beings. And I've gotten to know Gloria a little bit more so since Marty got sick, and we've been working together on a number of things. And she's just a lovely, lovely human being. And it's my pleasure and honor to introduce her to you now. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Avram. Well done, well said. Hi, everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Gloria Martin, Gloria Zaman, my real name, my radio name. Marty and I met in 1969, so we were friends for 55 years. But we transcended friendship, I think. We became family. I joined the family. We met as apprentice performers at Muskoka Summer Theatre in Gravenhurst in 1969. And my first impression of Marty was as a tough biker guy, the kind of guy my mother told me I should avoid. He had on a black leather jacket. He rolled up the sleeve so the scar on his arm was showing. And he did his tough guy stance, if you ever saw him do that. Quite funny. And so I was a little nervous to meet him. But when we finally did speak, I realized he was the total opposite of my first impression, and that the fun-loving guy was not a tough guy at all. And we were partners in crime and fun from that minute on. We were in the theater company as apprentices, and we had to do everything. One of the things they asked us to do, they asked Marty and I to re-dye the theater curtains black because they had faded they'd faded over the years. So we went out and bought, dollar store dye, lots of black dye, and filled up an old bathtub and stuffed the curtains in the bathtub. Little did we know that the bathtub leaked, and black dye went everywhere on our, and they were trying to get the curtain anyway. We were black and the floor was black. Anyway, we laughed our whole way through it. The cleanup was a bitch, but we had fun doing it. We also had to cook for everybody, and there was really no budget. You know, there'd be like $10. Okay, go and cook for 40 people. Here's $10. And of course, Marty and I loving food, and we went out and we fed a lot of people on very little money, and it was good too. We were sent out to deliver flyers for the theater company, stack of flyers, go around Gravenhurst, put the flyers up, promote the theater company. And I had a car, so we drove around. And our very first stop was a summer camp filled with fun-loving young teenagers. And they wanted us to stay and swim, try water skiing, have lunch with them. So we did. We stayed there, and needless to say, not too many flyers got put up. Our next stop was going to be Aurelia, so he could meet my mother who lived there. And of course, she cooked a huge lunch for us. And again, not many flyers got put up, but we had a lot of fun. And after that, my mother and Marty got on like just famously, and they were both rascals and full of fun, and she basically adopted him, and he became part of our family. The fun continued for decades. I can't complain. We had so much fun on the subway, faking fainting to get people's reactions, pretending to be husband and wife having a screaming match at each other, or he'd just blatantly holler out in the subway that I was a hooker and how much did I cost. Living in Vancouver, we were desperately short of funds, so we'd crash bar mitzvahs and weddings as guests so we could go to the buffets and have enough food for days. I would put it in my purse and we'd take it home. Later, we took the fun professional, of course, and we did live shows for Rogers TV, Myers Deli, and Prime Rib for CKVR. And all the talented people we picked up along the way have become friends. Many of you are here tonight. While working for the old spaghetti factory, a job came up as a disc jockey for the new place called Brandy's Bar. And Marty dared me to apply for the job. And I said, but I don't know anything about being a DJ. He said, yeah, but you love music. It's okay, go apply. So I applied, not thinking I'd get the job. And of course, I got it the next day. And fortunately, they trained you in those days to be a disc jockey. And I became one of the first female DJs in Canada and opened Brandy's in Ottawa and Minneapolis. Thank you, Marty. It was disco days, and then a radio station went all disco, and of course Marty dared me to go and apply for a job on the radio. I knew nothing about radio. He said, go anyway. Okay. So I did it for a lark, never thought to get the job. I got it the next day, and I became Gloria X, your lady of the night, doing the all-night disco show. Years later, I encouraged Marty to try radio. When he and Avram were starting their food show, I dared Marty to try and get a show on the brand new talk station, AM 640. And they got the gig and went on to do News Talk 1010, CFRB, and CHFI FM, and much more, live shows. Food, of course, was always on the top of Marty's menu. And with my mother and other friends, we must have visited, should I say, maybe 100, maybe more restaurants, or should I say we terrorized them with Marty and a huge group of people. And together we cooked maybe 1,000 meals in our lifetime. There's not enough time to tell you everything we did, just that we had a lot of fun. And we had so much fun. And as I often said to Marty, we lived more in a year than most people live in a lifetime. And we had a great time doing it. I want to also give a special shout out to Marty's brother, Brian. Hi, Brian. Brian, although you two had your differences over the years, it was really beautiful the way you reconciled with Marty toward the end of his life. And you were a real brother. You were there for him. And you also told me that you have come to realize what a great person Marty was, how positive he was, and how he helped so many other people. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Brian. And a quick shout out to Robbie and her husband, Alan, who have stuck with Marty through the years, even when Robbie was not always approving of Marty's peculiar life decisions. They saw the good in him, and it overrode the foibles and follies that were sometimes Marty's way. All right. Next up, I think Avram is going to... What's next on the agenda, Avram? Oh, it's Julius next, of course. Julius, Marty's oldest friend, Julius. I've known him for 55 years, and he's known Marty for longer than me. Julius.
It's so hard to believe, and I've spoken this evening to everybody, and we all agree that it's hard to believe we're here, as Avram said, remembering Marty when, as Avram said, this is exactly where he would love to have been. Oh, is this the mic? Okay, let's try that again. I'll just start all over again. No, I'm just. No, but we all really believe that this is. I call it the Marty party. I mean, it's where Marty would have just thrived, and he would have been the life of the party. But you know, the beauty of Marty is that he was able to change people's lives. I think as we share with so many people who came to know him either professionally or emotionally as friends, the ability of Marty to take a life and change it was remarkable. And I have to use my own life as an example. When I met him, I had to be the shyest 14-year-old in the world. So much so that I remember saying to Marty, how do you know how to talk? And he said, how do you know how to talk? Anyways, you realize now I've learned my lesson. But he was such an encouraging, loving, caring, generous individual in everything that he had to give to make his relationships and his friendships prosper and thrive. And what was really unique about Marty, well, an average person might fluff off the shoulder that, oh, it's just another person. Marty would take every person seriously, not only at their face value, but he would look at their soul, at their heart, at their intellect, at their passion. He would be able to see a person's true essence and their potential, as Gloria just described. Marty saw her potential, and he was able to encourage and make people become more than they ever thought they could do on their own. He was always there as an encouragement and always there as a friend and a confidant. Oh my gosh. 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 4 times. Who didn't get a million calls? You know, the phone, it's one of the saddest things is in his passing is there's no more phone messages. There were always so many phone calls from Marty. And when those phone calls happened, it's true they were multiple times a day, but what was great about it, the day was marked by a passage of time that had Marty clicking off the moments. Marty here, Marty there, 10:30, 11, 1 o'clock, 2:30, 9. He was always there. Good night, good morning. One of the beautiful things I have to share about Marty is that he brought out of me personality. He helped me see the potential in me as a person in passion and humor. I want to share a little video clip of an opportunity that I had when we were visiting his Aunt Myrna before she passed away. We were at his apartment, and at her apartment, and we were just having fun in front of the camera. So I'm going to ask Mike if you could just play this little clip, it's just a minute, of me and Marty having fun with Auntie Myrna.
Action.
Bum, bum, bum. Hello, Myrna. Well, hello, Myrna. It's so nice to have you back where you belong.
Bum.
I'm looking swell, Myrna. I can tell, Myrna, you're still glowing, you're still growing, you're still going strong. I feel the room swaying, and the band's playing one of those old favorite songs from way back when. Well, golly gee, fellas, find her an empty knee, fellas. Myrna won't ever go away. Myrna won't ever go away. Myrna won't ever go away again.
Hey!
And you know what's so beautiful? We had fun like that, and we didn't rehearse that. We just did it there in front of the camera. We had such energy. We're so connected. it's such a loss to have that not being in my life anymore. And what is so beautiful about Marty is that not only was he able to bring up and be able to find ways of making the opportunity to have fun and humor and joy, but he was really a loving person. In going through papers, I was wondering, like, what am I going to speak tonight about? And I came across this letter, and it's so sad in a way. This happened before the email era. I had a fight with Marty, and without. I don't even remember what it was about, but the way I would bear a grudge and not talk to him for a few days. So he writes me this letter. I'll read it in part. He says, "Julius, writing this letter is not an easy thing to do. I'm really sorry I hurt you on Thursday. You have had enough pain for a lifetime, and you don't need any more. I really can say I love you with all my heart. If only you realized how many times I look at your little pictures in my mother's locket. You know, it is funny. Us humans can survive on very little. Just give us some food, a little shelter, and some love. You take any one of those elements away, often it shakes our lives and our existence. I hope to think you still love me. Often I wonder if it's like an old shoe that has been around a long time. It takes so little to make most people feel good. A simple few words, a small act of kindness, or a person that just wants to listen." This is just a taste of what Marty was. He cared so much, and most people didn't. Most people just took it for granted. But most of us know that Marty was a fantastic human being, a wonderful person, and I'm so happy that those of us here tonight know that, and I'm glad we're able to celebrate it together. So thank you for being here. Thank you for helping Marty appreciate our love for him and his love for us.
You know, when you think about your own life and all the different pieces to it, generally there are other individuals who are attached to it who have been able to make your life better. And what Julius says about Marty and what Gloria said about Marty being such an extraordinary human being and giving to others in a way that was unusual. He lived to give. There was a flip side to it. You know, his life, it wasn't money by any stretch. He did love food. There's no question about it, but food was a conduit towards something far more important, and that was family and friends. I want to firstly say that here in the crowd tonight is Mark, who was Marty's caregiver. Stand up there, Mark. And if you have ever been in a situation where you or a family member required a caregiver, you know what it means to have an outstanding one. And if you were able to visit Marty in the hospital and the rehab, you would have seen Mark and then the other Mark working so hard to make Marty's life better in his last few months. So thank you for that from the very depths of our heart. Aaron Biederman is here. Aaron, where are you, Aaron? Aaron is here. He came from Los Angeles just for this evening. And I remember when Aaron used to come out to the Marty and Avram show, he was a young, strapping lad at the time. And now he's out in L.A. He's a dad and he's a sommelier. And he's a lovely guy. When I saw him, you know what's really nice about this night is that we're able to see people, some of whom we haven't seen in so long. And you know that feeling where it's almost so time hasn't passed, and you look at somebody like Bruce Tubby, Bruce Tubby. And I said, Bruce, I haven't seen you in so many years, man. I remember Marty introduced me to you, and of course you saw Bruce up here, and Diane, and Gloria too, and Shelley, right, was here on Prime Rib. It's as though no time has passed. When Marty and I got into restaurant and food, I must tell you, we knew nothing about food. Marty claimed that he did. He claimed that he did. He had one specific dish. What was that dish? Was Coca-Cola and what was it, Mouse? Orange juice. Yeah, orange juice. Yeah, and brisket or something. He pretended he was a chef, but he wasn't. But we aligned ourselves with some really special people who were very generous of spirit and saw the beauty within Marty. I was somewhat obstreperous, but they were nice to me too. As an example, Massimo, who is stand-up Massimo, is one of Canada and North America's finest chefs. Right, and he invites each and every one of you out to his restaurant on the house. Right, Mess? Come on down. His beef risotto is really something to talk about. So what I would like to do is everybody's going to have, whoever wants to speak is going to have a chance to do so after we see a tremendous montage of pictures that was produced and put together by Laura. Laura, raise your hand. Yeah. She worked hard at it, really, really hard. But before we do that, we're going to have a couple of people who will come up who knew Marty forever. We'll do the picture montage, and then we're going to open up to the floor. So I would like to call up Diane Douglas. Do you want to say a few words? Right now? I mean, we can wait a couple of weeks if you want. I don't know. I want to call up Mateo. And I want to call up Robbie and Alan. Or what you can come up individually if you want. Diane Douglas, ladies and gentlemen, who used to do a special piece on our show. And a great actress and mom. And grandmother.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Time has passed. Well, I'm not sure about this. Okay. Can everybody hear? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've got a strong voice. So hopefully we'll be able to get through this moment, because it is a very tender one. Just seeing Marty up on that screen, wow. He's been gone for such a little time, and yet seeing him up on that screen just brought everything flooding back. It was amazing. All the moments that we've had together. The one thing that I am grateful for is that he gave me a friendship that I have never, ever experienced in my life. Someone who cared for who you were. He cared for my family. He treated my boys as if they were his own, which was really special to them. And I'm sorry that they can't be here tonight because they really had a connection with him. He was their father as far as they were concerned. And Marty always joked that we should go and get married. And the kids were always saying, find a room, find a room. And I kept going, no, you don't understand, kids. You will when you grow up, but right now, no. So there was always humor around. When he came to our house for Thanksgiving or for a birthday or for whatever reason, Christmas, he would always bring someone with him. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three people. You never knew. Suddenly he would show up at the door and you go, hi, Marty, come on in. Oh, I brought a friend with me. Oh, who's your friend? I met him on the street today. And I'm going, you just met him? Yep. So not only did he open his home and his heart, he opened my home and my heart to all of these other people too. He was a teacher. He was teaching me and my children how to respect friendship and love, how to grow love. That's something that we need in this world right now. It's something that I was watching the announcement of the new Pope. He's an American Pope. And I'm thinking, That's going to be an interesting time ahead of us. We have no idea what to expect, but his first words out of his mouth were peace. And to me, that's what Marty was. Marty was a peacemaker. He was always there trying to negotiate and be happy, bring joy, bring love into the world. He brought people together who never thought they would be together, and somehow he made it work. He was an incredible master of that, and I will always, always be grateful to him. He will be missed. He is missed, but he is not forgotten, and he will always be present in my heart and my kids' hearts. So I thank Marty for his friendship and his love.
Hello, my name is Matteo Castelli. I met Marty in August 15 years ago, and the impression I got when I met him was there's either something significantly wrong with this person, or he's got to be the most authentic, genuine, important person I'll ever meet. And so the day went tonight, and he called me the next morning. And I thought to myself, why is he calling me the next morning? I mean, isn't there kind of like this rule that you don't call a person the next morning? You don't want to seem eager and, needy. And that's what I learned about Marty, because I had this conversation later. I said, don't call so quickly. Give it some time. And he looked at me and he said, why? And I realized, this is the person this is what it's about. It's being authentic, not afraid to show your feelings, not afraid to care. And that's who Marty is, and that's what we're all attesting here. The kind of person, how he's changed our lives. And he's changed my life like he's changed Julius's and Avram's and all the rest. For me, I was inhibited and shy and introverted, and I knew I wanted to step out of this confinement. And I would tell him when we went out for dinner and everybody was talking about the food. We went to Tattoo and they were talking about how wonderful it was. There was Gloria and Diane. I'm thinking, wow, these wonderful stars and beautiful people. And they are, and they were wonderful and are wonderful. And here I am quiet, not saying a single word. And they're saying to each other, why isn't he talking? And I said to myself, one day I'm going to surprise everybody and I'm going to talk. And it was Marty who got me to talk. And just moments ago, Diane talked to me. She said, I want to go back. What a wonderful life I had as a youth. And I turned to her and I said, for me, I had a tough youth. And I don't look back fondly, but I do at 40 years old and up. And at 40 years old, I met Marty. And that's when my life changed, and he brought it all out. And I think about all the people he's introduced me to, how he's challenged me to be better and stronger, and how to find my creative spirit and how to light the flame. But this in particular is something that always hits home, is that he always had, whenever he met a new friend or something, he too would bring them over to my birthday party, and I'd never met this person before, and I'd meet them, and it'd be like someone wouldn't stay in the picture maybe long, but he didn't care because he just said, oh, these guys are great, this guy's wonderful, this girl is wonderful, whatever, anybody, but he saw the good in people. But in particular, I think Marty is someone who's got candy he wants to give to his brother. And he loves his brother so much that nothing he has, he won't share. It's yours too. And that's who his friends were. Someone he wanted to share with. Anything exciting, he wanted to share. And there's the other side. He wouldn't always tell you what was bothering him because he kept that into himself. And I don't know how much we know about that side. I know the last little bit was tough for him. Letting him go was hard for all of us. And I know and I hope that in rest and in peace he's doing much better. But he is missed by us all, and his flame is eternal in us all. And we all love Marty, and we all miss Marty. And I miss Marty's calls, and I miss Marty's advice. But he lives with us all, and I want to just thank you. And all of you, when I see you're here and you're happy and your stories, that revitalizes the flame and keeps it flickering, and it will be there so long as I live, and hopefully beyond that time. Thank you.
Hi, so my name is Robbie. I'm Marty's first cousin. My mother, Adele, and his mother, Chicky, were sisters, and they were very, very close, inseparable, really. So we grew up, as one big happy family with his brother, Brian, my cousin, Gay, and Marty. And I've been with him for all his, schemes. Every day, every week he called me, I'm doing this, and Superlicious, and his pies and his tarts, and every day there was something else. I always went along with him. We always came to everything that he had. And I just remember being at his house when he was sitting at the head of the table, when he had all these people like Diane, and said, these people like you never saw them before. Where did you meet them? Half an hour ago. Then you never saw them again. But he didn't care. He just wanted the more people around him, to see people sitting there and enjoying their food. That what gave him the biggest pleasure. And he was sitting there like a big Buddha at the head of the table, and then we all had to hold hands, right, Gloria? Had to hold hands, go around the table. What are you grateful for? And he was just amazing. I loved him so much, really like a brother. I have two sisters, but he always said, you're like my sister, and he was like my brother. And we go to restaurants, especially in his last few years. We came here a lot. They have the best breakfast here, actually. And when he was on dialysis, he couldn't. He had no taste buds. He had no sense of smell. He couldn't eat. So he would have a salad or a bowl of soup or something. But he got pleasure out of seeing you eat. And when I got home, that night or the next day, I get a call from him. What did you think, Rob? What did you think? How did you like it? How did you like the food? And he was always discovering new restaurants. And like 2 weeks later, the rest was finished. But anyway, he was a character. He was colorful. I miss him. Sorry. And I just remember last summer, we were visiting him at Bickle, and we were sitting outside. It was a beautiful day. And me and Alan and Mark was there. And he was sitting in his wheelchair, all covered up. And we were talking about a lot of things. And I just remember him saying to me that, sorry. He just said to me, I had a wonderful life. And he really believed it, and he did, because he was so genuine, and he was so innocent. He didn't care a thing about money or anything. It was just to have his friends and his family around. And that's it. He was a great person. I miss him every day. I love you, Marty.
Who knows Marty's dog's name? Chicky. Who else?
Buddy.
Who is it?
Buddy was the first dog.
Buddy and Lenny, right. So a big shout out to to his dog spirits. I want to thank everybody who came up to speak and did so heartfully. Yes.
Thank you to Allison.
And thank you to Alice. Yes.
For taking care of the dog.
Yes, for taking care of the dog. Stand up, Allison. Come on. How was that experience? Good. I also want to take a moment to send a shout out to Marty's sister, Gay. whom we saw at the Shiva. And God bless her. She and her family should be well. Laura is an extraordinary person who embraced the task of putting together a collage of pictures of Marty, which we are going to watch in 2 minutes. Do you want to just give a context to that process?
It was like boxes, 3 or 4 boxes of pictures of Marty, and it was involving scanning them all and presenting them in such a way that I felt categorizing them to best illustrate Marty's life. And it was a pleasure to do it, and I had to stop many times doing it because it was so hard.
Yeah, I have to say the two of you embraced Marty in a way which was so unusual. You loved him so dearly, and he loved you back. So thank you to the both of you for your beautiful work. Mike, we have the montage lined up there? Okay. You can shout out if you want.
Get your tissues ready.
Oh, hello, dear. It's Manny Flapjack, and I'm back bigger than ever. Yes, dear, I'm big, big, big. But what you got to do, dear, is leave a message, and Fanny will call you back, and she'll send a big kiss to you, darling.
Got to tell you is till that last moment, your last breath, always keep believing. Keep believing in your heart that you can do what you can do. So we can choose. We can be alone. We can be sad. We can be empty. Or we can say, you do this. You just embrace life. You hold your hands up like this. Look at the power. When you do this, the power is the whole world. When you do this, there's no room to grow. But when you do this, you can love, you can share, you can experience, you can laugh. And I think for me, what's been the ingredient that's made me so happy? Laugh. When you're stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I pick up my chin and grin and say, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away. Shalom!
A big hand for Laura, a big hand for Marty. Yeah, it's so funny that he ended with shalom because he was the least Jew that I have ever met. Right, Massimo? You know, I went on AI and I asked AI to print out Marty's strongest character traits, and here's what AI came up with. And you're welcome to applaud or boo if you agree or disagree. First it said that Marty Galin was generous of spirit. That Marty Galin was known for his extraordinary generosity. He lived to give love and kindness to others. His media career, his empathy, his close friendships. He maintained a 40-year friendship with his colleagues, some 50. And Julie, how long were you guys friends for? 62 years. Profoundly influencing their lives. Humor and character. Marty brought out humor in others, notably through characters like Gertie and Fanny, enriching their shared radio celebrations. Culinary of influence, compassionate nature, legacy of love, grace in adversity. Despite facing disease and sickness, he handled it with grace, leaving a legacy defined by unwavering generosity. Community connector, and this is really true. He was a great networker. Through his work and friendships, Marty introduced others to new communities, broadening their perspectives and fostering connections. I'd really like to take this opportunity to open the floor to everybody who's here and really encourage you to just, come up for a couple minutes even and say what's on your mind, because as I said before, each one of us carries Marty in our heart. That's the beauty of friendship, and that's the beauty of love, that it never really dissipates. That's energy that is with us forever. But the flip side is that he had each one of us, Marty Galin did, in his heart and in his soul. So I want to open up the floor, and I want to ask anybody and every... Yeah, Julius. Yeah, I want to welcome the people on Zoom as well who have the opportunity to speak. So let's start things off. I'll actually introduce the first person. Massimo Capra, you came into our lives early on in our radio and television career, and you're like a big guy. Like you're pretty successful. You are. And Marty and I were so taken back by the fact that you embraced us in the way that you did. Susur Lee would never come on our show. Did you know that? No, yeah, Susur Lee would never. I like his food, but to this day I hate the guy. But Massimo was there for us always. And was it Gloria who said, he'd bring over a friend or two or three. But the truth of the matter is he'd bring over 15 friends. And he'd phone up Massimo. He goes, we're coming over to your restaurant tonight, and I have a few friends. And he would march right in with a dozen people. And Massimo was so gracious. I'm so happy that you're here. We give regards to your son and your lovely wife, Rosa. If you want to say a few words, please.
All right, you're right. We have a lot of history behind us with Marty. There's no way you can say no to Marty, okay? Whenever he says, I'm coming, he's coming. That's all there is to it, you know what I mean? It was a pleasure to work with Marty and with you, Avram. We did the Beer Buddies. We did the Movable Feast. We've done the longest salad in Scarborough with Marty. I mean, that was an enormous undertaking. And I mean, and I learned a few things myself. I mean, that famous chicken with the orange crush is legendary. Plus, he told me a few other secrets. I mean, how to cook a brisket with Coca-Cola. That's so there are many things that we learned from him. And I mean, aside from the character, that he was enormously generous and really friendly. I mean, and what you saw at the end, I mean, with his open arms, I mean, that's exactly what Marty was. I mean, there's nothing represents him more than that. I mean, he was a phenomenal individual, and I loved having known him. I feel really, really sad that he's gone, unfortunately. I know that he had a really rough time at the end, and, I was in Mississauga. I was working away. We were on the phone a few times, and I'm sorry I wasn't here for the Shiva, and, but he will be missed, and I think about him a lot. All the time, because if I look back at my career, I mean, Marty's been there since the 80s. Since the 80s, 1982, when I arrived in Canada, I had the fortune of meeting him in a place called the Archers back on St. Clair Avenue, and we've known each other since then. That's a long time. So, Marty, you will be missed, and you will always be here. Always. Thank you.
All righty, let's open up the floor. Who wants to be next? I do. Okay. Bruce Tubby. We're all shy.
Hi, my name is Bruce Tubby. This reminds me of that Mary Tyler Moore episode, at the funeral where she's laughing the whole way through. Yeah, and I was down there laughing, and I'm about to bawl my head off right now. Does anybody remember Terry Fox? Yeah. That's the reason I know Marty. I was working at the spaghetti factory, and they came to me and they said, Terry Fox is coming through, and there's this guy, he wants to get a good waiter just to serve him and not bother him. And we want you. And I said, sure, that's fine. So I had the privilege of serving Terry Fox when he came through, and he ate at the spaghetti factory. And at the end of the night, the bill was presented, and of course everything was comped, except they didn't comp the tip that was supposed to come to me. And all the staff were really upset. I would have donated it to the cause, yeah. But they were upset, and they complained to the guy who organized it. That was Marty. Marty felt so bad. I got to meet this guy. So we met. He says, I want to buy you lunch. And it was on that block down on the Esplanade. It was one of the restaurants. Because he worked for the whole group down there on PR. And so that's where I met him. He found out I was an actor. He found out I sang. And next thing you know, I was in the Grinder Sisters. There was the Grinder Sisters. At the Grinder, he had a couple of beautiful women who could really sing, and he had this really talented guy that was singing along with him. And then he brought me in, too, because Marty was always adding to any creation that, hey, the more the merrier. And from then on, I would see him. I was up on the Danforth one time. I was at Joe Allen's on the Danforth. And I came out, and all of a sudden I hear, Bruce! And I looked around, Marty! Hey, how you doing? And as I'm walking up to him, all of a sudden, Marty! Somebody calls from across the street and goes, hey! And then somebody else goes, Marty! Hey! Marty! And I think, this guy knows everybody. Marty, how you doing? Hey, who are those people? He goes, I don't know. They just they knew him. And that was just a great character. I had to write these things down because I knew I would be a mess when I got up here. That guy, he just takes care of you. He took care of you. I needed a doctor. Dr. Waxman, I'll get you a doctor. I needed a place to live. He got me like 3 places to live. Frank, is Frank here? Frank. That was through Marty. Jobs, as everybody has said, I can't believe I'm doing this. his heart was so big, and he was just always giving. That I'm so sorry about this. I did a commercial. I did a Levi's commercial. It was pretty big, and everybody who saw it, they went, "Oh, Bruce, you look really great." Marty saw it and he went, "That's my shirt." I stayed in his apartment when he was in LA, and I needed a shirt to work out in. I borrowed one of his. It was great. Knew it would never hit him again. And I wore it to the audition. They loved it, and it was in the commercial. And that was the only thing he could see, his shirt. Thanks, Marty. Got me the commercial. I really appreciate it. I went to his place one time, just shortly after knowing him, meeting him, and we talked at night. Thank you so much. We talked, and, you know, he had a heart, and sometimes it was sad. And he liked to express that, and he just wanted somebody to listen. So he'd listen. At the end of the night, it's like, "Okay, Marty, I got to get going. Okay, do you need anything?" "No, I'm fine." He says, "Do you want some food?" "Oh, no, I'm good, Marty. I'm good." "No, really, do you want some oranges?" "Well, okay, I'll take an orange." Okay. I left there with a bag of fruit, grapefruits, oranges. I don't go to the grocery shop and buy that much food, but for Marty, you can't leave him without him just giving you everything. And most of all, what I got from him was, I got him right there. I got to share this with you. One last thing. I lived out with Frank out in the East End, and Marty was living on Alexander. And one summer day, I'm walking down on Queen Street, way out in the East End. Who's that? Come running toward Marty. He ran from Yonge Street all the way out to the beach, and there he was, just running and running. Yeah, he's been running for a while. Yeah, you're running because he wanted to lose weight. He lost a lot of weight. Remember that when he lost all that weight? Okay. Pregnant women's urine. Anybody remember that? I don't know whether he drank it or whether they shot it with him, but I mean, he took that apparently to help him lose weight. But the funniest thing was, he would run all the way to the beach, have an ice cream cone, and then he would run all the way back. Thank you. 961-5804. Everybody remember that? Yes!
Thanks, Bruce. Who else would like to come up and say a few words? Don't be shy. It's your chance to do that. Taya's here as well. I want to thank Taya for working with Marty in the selling of his house, which was not an easy thing. But she was a giant, and she did a beautiful job. Come on up, sure.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Shore Buchan. Steve Buchan was Marty's first cousin. And we ran into some owners of a restaurant downtown that Marty managed a long time ago. And we asked them, how did he do? And they said he did a really good job in managing it. He was always friendly and welcoming. He treated me like family when I first time I met him. We were at his place for his birthday, and they had a cake, and he says, "Wait a minute, your birthday's April 20th. You're a Taurus too. Your name has to be on the cake." And it was. So he would be missed by everyone who knew him, and my husband is kind of over there, kind of shy kind of thing, and he told me to do the talking tonight. So that's what I'm talking.
Aaron Biederman. Aaron came all the way from LA for this evening.
Yes. Hi, Aaron Biederman here. I came from LA because Marty was dear to my heart. Every single time I came to Toronto to visit my family, I always made sure I made time for Marty because he makes time for everybody as well. And there's one kind of cool story I have. Was it Ed Mervish that owned? So Marty, you know, we all know him as like a silly, fun guy that's like got a huge heart and like always like a good time and like. And we went to the spaghetti factory with Ed Mervish for lunch. And actually, that's another connection I have with Marty. We both worked at the spaghetti factory and both lived in Santa Monica. Kind of cool. And just that we have all these connections. And Ed, was a little older at the time. It was right before he passed, I think, because it was like late 90s. I don't remember exactly when he passed. And Marty and I sat down with Ed, and Marty was all of a sudden this like super awesome, he turned into this like professional interviewer. Asked him the most interesting questions. You taught me about interesting questions, actually. And all he did was ask the most like fascinating questions, and all he got back was like the most interesting answers, nonstop, one by one, like just like a machine gun. Great questions, great answers, and we were all having a good time at the same time. It was part of the fun, and Ed loved it as well. I was having a great time. I was just like, Marty, who are you right now, man? I thought you were like this fun dude that just like is all silly and crazy, but like you're asking the coolest, smartest questions. Ed came back with the coolest, smartest answers. And it's just a side of Marty that I wanted everyone to also see, besides his huge heart and being such a fun and just magnetic man. There was also like that, he like that great interviewer in him that I never saw before, but like, wow, it was there and it was good. And it was, and I'm gonna miss him a lot as well. I mean, he was just, it's just weird that he's not here anymore. Just weird. But yeah, love you, Marty.
Did everybody know that Marty did not have glasses in his frames? Did you know that? Yeah. So, Aaron talks about Marty's great questions. We would spend hours on Saturday for a show on Sunday, and we would go in there with a script that we would kind of use loosely. And I would bring the script, one for him and one for me, and, we had a lot of guests. And I would hand it to him, and he goes, well, Avram, I don't have glasses in my frames, and I can't really read this. So it was Marty was a very interesting partner that way, because indeed he was a very curious person by nature, right? But what he did was he embraced all the people in the studio, and then later on, put up your hand if you were at the feast after our show. Who would have joined us there? We had these enormous feasts with tons of food, and he was the one who really embraced them, and would just make people feel like $1,000,000. We have, I think, probably about 10 or 15 minutes here at the restaurant. I want to thank them very much again. Staff has done a beautiful job tonight. We appreciate it very much. I also want to thank our audiovisual people. You guys have been great, and it's been really, really, really lovely working with you. Mark, do you want to say a few words? Okay. Mark was Marty's caregiver for a number of months, and he was outstanding at what he did.
So good evening, everyone. So thank you for giving me this moment to remember someone who meant so much to me. It's Marty. So in the days right after he passed, I had a dream of him smiling. It was peaceful, vivid, like he was telling me he was okay, and I should be too. That smile has never left me. I still see it every time I think of him, especially in quiet moments, like when I pray for him at night. Since then, whenever I feel down, something always reminds me of him, a memory, a sign, a feeling. It brings back who he was, calm, kind, encouraging. It's like he's still around, guiding me. I'll never forget how during my NCLEX exam, just this March, the first question was the same condition he had. So I smiled. I knew he's still with me, still helping me, even from beyond. And thank God I passed. When he was still with us, I told him once, Marty, I was going to stop working for a while to focus on my studying. I could see the sadness in his eyes, but he still encouraged me to go for it, to believe in myself. That's just who he was. He always supported others, even while facing his own battles. He played such a big role in my life here in Canada. He helped me find the confidence to take risks and to stop worrying about so much what others think, as long as I stayed kind and true to myself. And above all, I want to thank him for trusting me, for believing in my knowledge, my skills, and my heart to take care of him when he needed it most. That trust was one of the greatest gifts he gave me, and I will always hold it close. Thank you, Marty. Till we meet again.
Yeah, I just want to say Mark's wife is here as well. And she actually is a nurse and was a caregiver for Marty at certain times as well. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Marty also had a second Mark. We called him Mark II, Mark Maurizio, who also looked after Marty. He couldn't be here tonight because he's not well, but he sent along a very nice message and said, "Please know that my thoughts have been with you and everyone gathered to honor Marty. He was truly special and will be deeply missed."
Who else can come up here and talk about their narrative? Yeah, please. Yeah, okay, fine, yes, yes.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me here tonight. I met Marty in the dialysis unit at Toronto General Hospital. I was one of his dialysis nurses. I was his Hungarian princess. We talked about the restaurants. We talked about food. I led him places into the West End. He led me places into the East End. Always came in with a smile. Dialysis is not easy. He always had a very colorful outfit on, big smile. He made it through. Sometimes he had the cramps, sometimes he didn't. But when he finished his dialysis treatment, he always said thank you. And that's one thing a nurse will always remember when a patient says thank you. That makes your day. Thank you and rest in peace, Marty.
Thank you. We have some people on Zoom, Julius?
I don't know.
Mike?
I haven't got any responses. Can we have somebody, if they're on Zoom, they have to raise their hand and then we'll know.
Can you see people on Zoom?
There's a sign. Yeah.
All right, if anybody would like to say something who's on Zoom, please go ahead. No? Okay. Yeah, sure, come on up, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Enrico, and I met Marty 10 years ago. So it's been 10 years that I was a friend of Marty. I met him to a goodbye party for our friend Sean, that he was working on a documentary on Marty. And we started having a fight on if you put sugar in a tomato sauce or not. I ended up calling my grandmother in Italy. She was still alive. I say, "Nonna, are you putting sugar in the tomato sauce? Because here there's a guy that says that you put sugar in tomato sauce."
Do you? What do you say?
No, we don't put sugar. No. Hey, if you have good tomato, you don't need sugar, okay? And from that moment on, just was things after things with Marty. You know, we were trying, if you guys know Marty, always try to do something new, something to also go back on the horse and be in a TV show or being on the magazine, the newspaper, right? Make his name again out there. And I'm glad that after we tried so many things, because we tried so many things, we were successful on few little wins, and one was you guys probably know about the butter tarts, and he was so proud of it, and they were good, they were delicious, and then the other thing we had was the second super delicious that we did, and I was so happy to see that we made on the magazine, then we made on the newspaper, the Toronto Star, right? And for me that was the let's say, the event before that is health decline even more. That I think that they give us that strength to keep going and give to us other moments that we had with him. He was a great friend, will be forever missed, and you know.
Rico, he
Yes.
loved your singing. Sing for us.
Are you singing when you're choking? Which song should we make? O Sole Mio again? Okay, sure. Che bella cosa, una giornata di sole, un'aria serena, dopo una tempesta, bell'aria fresca, para già una festa. Che bella cosa, una giornata di sole, ma tu sole, più bello ed è, oh sole mio, sta in fronte a te, oh sole mio, sta in fronte a te, sta in fronte a te. To you, Marty.
We have Lisa and Paula who want to speak on Zoom. Can we get-
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Okay. Just give me 1 sec, and I'll get them up. Lisa is going to be first. Oh. Sorry, 1 second. Can we hear you, Lisa? Go ahead, Lisa.
Mike, do we have someone on who's here, and we'll come back to Lisa?
Should be able to hear Lisa.
All right, see if you can get her. I want to welcome Joey C., who's here with us tonight. Joey, like Massimo and a few others, were always extraordinarily kind to Marty and I when we were breaking into the industry. He included us in his magazine. He would have us out to his epic parties in Mississauga, and he was always just so incredibly generous of spirit to Marty and I all the days of Marty's life, and we were very, very grateful for that. Joyce, if you want to come up and say a couple words. And Joe, it's just a couple words. Just a couple words, Joe.
How am I supposed to follow an opera singer? Oh my God! What an intermission for Zoom. Well, I wasn't his tailor. I'll tell you that. Did he even have one? Did he have a cleaner? That sometimes you don't. Anyway, I met these guys like 30 years ago, and I was just starting Hot Toronto magazine. And if you don't know what that magazine was, it was a magazine that was distributed in all the hotels in Toronto and Southern Ontario of everything that's going on in Toronto. and I didn't have a food section. Somehow, I don't even know how we met you. I think he called me actually, and he gave me the rundown that he does food, and he didn't. But I took the bait, and I says, well, I'm always good to give people a chance, right? So I did, and it was a great move that I made, because that started a great relationship, a great friendship, and I got to know his big family, like I'm sure all of you. How many of you were at my parties? Yeah, I bet you all met him the day before you came to the party, right? Right? Yeah, because that's how I got to know all you guys. And he was always the life of the party. And he'd always call him Fish to find out when the next party was. And he'd say, okay, I'm going to bring a friend. Zzz. He never said that part. But I also knew when it was RSVP, it must be 1 or 10. So I expected that. But he was kind. He always brought raw food to be cooked. Like mostly, yeah, it was always raw. Like, here's a bunch of chicken, here's a bunch of whatever, and he'd say, "You cook it," and that was it. I had to cook it. He never did the barbecue thing. One thing about Marty, he was a character, definitely. Acting was in his blood for sure. He was also a promoter. He would call me just to say hi, and I think just have a laugh, you know. And of course, to tell me what his next project is, you know, and it was always a project. And he had to drag me down there. You have to come, you have to come, you have to come. Guilt was a big deal with him, I tell you. You know, I'm sure with a lot of you, eh? You can't say no. You can't say no to Marty, right? I remember once you guys were doing the movable feast, and I had just renovated my backyard. And he says, we should do a show here. And I go, okay. What kind of come in on whatever day it was. I had no idea what to expect, right? All I know is that my backyard was turned to a Japanese garden with about 4 chefs, a big table to eat at, lots of food, and a whole, this is beyond bringing an invited crew, like a whole crew, a TV crew, you know, and it pulled off really well. It came off really, really well. And you guys did a great job. And the food was great. I had leftovers for a while. And that was a good memory, a great memory. And you know what? Like now I renovated my back and I'm doing it again. I was thinking about him and the table we had out there. And I thought, I need to do this again. You know, have a big commune table where everybody, friends can get together and just eat rather than just come around and schmooze around, right? So we're going to do that in honor of him. We're going to do that one day. Yeah, so as writers, they, you know, he always delivered, and he was always excited about writing and getting known out there. And I had no problem promoting him. He was boisterous, loud. He was basically a great publicist. You know, he'd announce you in the room like from here to across the street. You know what I mean? And at times I'd go, okay, Marty, you're slow down, right? But that was his style. That was his fun, and it loosened you up. You cannot say no to Marty, right? No. So yeah, I miss his phone calls and his laughing and his jokes and his spirit. His spirit is basically what it was all about, right? And it's his spirit that's carrying us right here, right now. You know, and all you people who have talked. I met a lot of you at the funeral, and that was a sad moment, but also joyous, the fact that you were all put together. And I got to know a lot more about Marty that I didn't know before I met him. And I'm very appreciative of that. And I thank you, and I thank Marty, and I thank Avram, and he'll be missed, and God bless him.
Setting on Zoom, now the Zoom people can't speak. Hey, there's Linda. Yeah, first of all, Linda and all of them. First of all, Paula has her hand up. Ask Paula to unmute herself. Oh, it's Linda. To unmute herself. You gotta unmute yourself.
You have to unmute.
Beautiful.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, Mark, I also work at the old spaghetti. I lived in Toronto. Okay, I think that's when and I ended up with a convertible show and meeting, hanging out with everyone. One of my favorite, going to the Korean restaurant, the Hungarian Village Street. We would always, and we had, Marty also moved in with us. Julius, you were there?
Yeah, he moved in for 2 weeks. 6 months later.
Okay. Well, we had a lot. He was such, you know, thanks everyone, how wonderful he was, and everybody laughed. And I have a really good place. I hope for him. And I wish him all in the afterlife, next life, when it comes. May his memory. And that's it. He was a good.
Anybody else? Julie?
No, we want to get Lisa and we want to get Linda. And possibly Stephen Stanley.
Okay. Lisa, am I on?
Yes.
Oh my God, I don't want to be seen. Okay, so I went to school in St. Let me Lewis. Let me lower this. I went to school in St. Louis at Washington University. I was going to graduate early, so I got a job at the spaghetti factory. Marty was in town to open it up. Steve Stanley also was working there. And we would do the Havana Gilas. Marty had everybody up dancing. The three of us became good friends. And then I was supposed to move to DC and work for the Humane Society. But instead, Marty said, let's all go to San Diego. So Lisa, Steve, and Marty, and poor Steve, probably never met a gay person or a Jew before. And now he's with the three of us. And we went to San Diego, and then Marty got us jobs on a construction site, a restaurant. I don't know. I was doing drywall. I learned all this stuff. But again, Marty got us the jobs. Then I don't remember San Diego much, but then we get to LA. Then being out in Beverly Hills with Marty, and Marty would go, oh my God, and point to me, look who she is, to get other people to look like I'm a famous celebrity. Everybody knows Marty. He knows what you all know was doing. The three of us lived together. It was like Three's Company. Then at one point, Marty got us jobs at the comedy club. Now, I don't know how I did that. I couldn't have lasted very long because I don't know alcohol. I don't know drinks. But the big job he got us, he said, there's a new restaurant opening and I'm going to work there. You guys are going to come, and it's called the Cheesecake Factory. So we started the Cheesecake Factory when it first opened, and that's when we met Linda Candiotti. And what other jobs did Marty get me? Marty got me a role to play in a gay movie. It was gay movie, and I was going to play a secretary. Anyway, so that was Marty always was getting us involved in things. When we lived together, I remember coming home and finding some new person that lived in the house very briefly. But yeah, he would just find people. And again, everything else that everybody has said about Marty, but just the jobs that he would get us and his. And the truth is, I left LA after Marty did. I have two brothers. I lost one tragically. Well, they meant well. I really realized as I was sitting here that Marty actually knew me better than my brothers and what was best for me. And leaving LA was not best for me, even though my older brother knew that. But if I would have probably, if Marty was still there, I never would have left. You know, he probably knew me more than my own brothers. And we stayed in touch through the years. I don't want to take too much time, but other, people coming on, but he definitely changed my life in a way that was just remarkable. So, that's what comes to mind are the jobs that he would get us in because he always wanted to share. He found something he wanted to share it with everybody else. So he is missed. And then, of course, I met Gloria and Avram and Mateo and, so many of his other amazing friends. And the Kansas City Trucking Company, I think that's the name of the gay porno flip. But I never saw it. I don't think my part was really significant. But what they did do is we had to go make all this noise in a bar where they're early in the morning where they wanted background noise. So Marty, me, and the three of us are there, and they kept screaming out, Lisa Weinstock, Fred and Reedy's daughter from Pittsburgh. I kept saying, stop it, stop saying my name. Anyway,
Lisa,
that
I'm
also
gonna
comes
have
to
to
mind.
I'm gonna have to cut you off because
Yes,
the
no, please do.
restaurant is closing shortly. So thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. All right, is Stephen Stanley there?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
I knew Marty. We traveled in California and lived together and knew him for a very short time. But Lisa and I introduced him to America and St. Louis and Los Angeles. And I'm after I met him, I'm wondering, are all Canadians as welcoming, as warm, as loving, as just wonderful people? And after meeting all of his friends, they absolutely are. It's we had a wonderful time together and traveled and saw, parts of America that we've never seen before. I ended up settling in California and have been here ever since. And but I would have never gone to California without meeting Marty in St. Louis at the old spaghetti factory. So it was a brief but wonderful time together, and I will cherish it always and miss him tremendously. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Oh, hello. I the time I also met Marty at the spaghetti factory and finishing my doctorate and needing to work for the last couple of years. And I had more fun than I had ever had before and probably since in my life. And part of that with Marty and his friends and being a friend of his. And I remember once he and other people came, snuck into my house late at night and were scaring me. And they got me to go around to other people's houses, like my next door neighbors, and scare them. Can you believe that ever happening these days? Just hilarious. And Marty also came to my wedding, which was less likely than a nuclear war. Getting married, that was. I was in my early 40s. And he was the only person I would ever have to stay at my house the night of my wedding. And somehow he ended up dancing in the front hall, stark naked, that night. I think we may have joined him. I don't remember that. I just remember him doing that. And really, he's been a long-term friend for me and very special person. And I'm so appreciative of all the people that he brought into my life and the people that are now just saying their positive, just presenting this for us. It's just been very nutritious and very meaningful to hear all of you have all those loving and hilarious feelings reignited. Thank you so much, Avram and Gloria and Marty. Marty, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. What's that?
I just have to add a little something to Linda's story about Marty staying over the night of their wedding. When they got up in the morning, they discovered that Marty must have got a bit hungry in the middle of the night and ate the wedding cake.
Is that a true story? Really? Yeah, I'm sure he's paying for that in heaven.
Wrapping it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right.
All right, folks, thank you so much for everybody being here and for being part of this most beautiful evening. And more than that, for being part of Marty's life. Marty needed more than anything friendship and love, and he was able to give it back. But it's that friendship and love which encouraged him to grow and to become the human being that he was, which was unique. There's very, very few people like that. So carry his energy in your heart always. My father used to say, God bless his soul, that the best way of remembering somebody is to duplicate what they were great at. And Marty was great at good deeds. And he was great at helping others. And he was great at networking, getting people jobs, and finding friends for others, making friends with individuals who simply did not have a lot in their lives. Carry that with you and bring that into your world as well. I have a poem to read, and then we're going to sing happy birthday to Marty because it'll be his birthday tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's
okay,
right.
do you have something to say?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Julius, do you have something to say?
I want everybody to remember we're going to have one other gathering coming up in December for the unveiling of his monument.
Okay. I'm big on AI, and I use it in my podcast. It's called The Avram Rosenzweig Show. Please subscribe. And here is a poem that AI wrote about Marty, and it goes as follows. And once it's finished, we will sing happy birthday and wrap up the evening. Marty,
Wait.
who said that?
From Avram. Who's that? I don't think. It's Linda Candiotti calling from
Hi, Linda. How are you?
LA. Yes. I'm in a very strange reception. Oh, here I am.
Hi, Linda. Go ahead.
So before you sing, I just wanted to say hello to everyone. There's my husband driving. There he is. I've loved Marty, and I'm heading to David Overton's house. That's the man who hired Marty in Beverly Hills in 1978. So it's pretty crazy. Well, reminiscing about all the Marty stories when sorry. Anyway, I'm sending love to all of you who supported him so long. Take great care of him and loved him. We loved him from afar.
Thank you,
And we
Linda.
love you all for being so kind.
Thank you, Linda.
May he rest in peace finally, and may he be telling stories like crazy up in heaven.
Yeah, trust me, he is. Amen. Thank you. Regards to
All
Russ.
right.
Thank
Love
you.
you all.
The poem goes as follows. Marty came through this world a fleeting, radiant spark. Too short a time, yet he left an eternal mark. With love and kindness, he wove a generous thread, living to give, his heart an open bed. Each of us here, we carry his light, a warmth that lingers in his heart. Quiet night, unique was Marty, our truest, dearest friend. He knew us deeply. He cared. His care would never end. 10 years we shared on radio and screen, a bond so close like a life's partner, serene, beautiful, intimate, challenging, and grand, wondersome moments crafted by his hands. At CFRB at Talk 640 glowing stage, the on-air lights sparked magic with no cage. Bickering faded, our rhythm took flight. We knew each line, our jokes a shared delight. I had the script, the ads, the plans designed. Marty held feelings, making every guest shine. From Belafonte to Bublé or voices unknown, he treated all as royalty, his heart, his throne. Like his mother Chicky, with love he'd feed, a generosity born from a boy's simple need. Those years the best because of his creed, to make others feel great, to plant a joyful seed. 40 years of friendship, my life transformed. Marty's love and humor, my spirit warmed. Through Gertie, through Fanny, he drew out my laughter, introduced me to worlds I've never dreamed after. Good food, new communities, a compassionate guide. He showed us love with arms open wide. Even in illness, his grace never waned, his legacy of giving forever sustained. As the Dalai Lama spoke of generous souls, Marty's heart answered, making broken things whole. Tonight we raise a glass to our cherished friends, to our cherished friend, Marty Galin, whose love will never end. We embrace you, we celebrate you, we hold you near. Your spirit lives on in every joyful tear. Cheers to you, Marty, our family, our light. We'll love you forever, through day and through night. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marty. Happy birthday to you. God bless you, Marty. Don't make a mess up in heaven. We love you.
Oh, God, it's too late for that, Avram.
Too late for that.
Oh. Yeah.
Recording stop.